We have a question from the stream. If you could not depict the American Santa, which Santa would you pick?
Well, that's kind of tough.
The Italian Santa.
Well, the Italian Santa is a good-looking Santa, but if you don't know this, a lot of the male quote-unquote Santas around the world are very similar to an American-style Santa. The British one, the one that's in Japan, the one that's in Korea, and they're influenced from the service people from around the world that were serving after World War II in Japan and Korea during the Korean conflict. They formed that thought of image of Santa in those countries, if you didn't know. And they're the most recent countries to start celebrating Christmas with Santa, and that is Korea and the Japans. So, I don't know. Australia's kind of cool too. He's in shorts right now. So, because it's summer down there, so it's hard to pick which one to be.
Take the Jamaican one, man.
I don't do dreadlocks though.
That's all right.
The beard would have to be in dreadlocks, huh?
There are other goodies that come along with the Jamaican one, so you're all good on that. Are there any negative psychological effects to allowing children to believe in characters, later telling them they're not real?
Psychological effects, I do mostly social psychology, so please take that with a grain of salt. A lot of the critiques, at least of the princesses, is not so much about leading the children to believe they're real and then telling them they're not. It's more about the way in which they get told that those people are not real, but also more so what happens to the children when they're actually believing in the characters and looking at them. I'm sure you've all seen the literature online about how the princesses' body sizes cause negative gender stereotypes for little girls. I would also let you know there's a ton of literature about racial representation in princess performers, like what happens to children when they go to Disney World and they look at Tiana and she is not as melanated as she is in the movie, and so they don't see themselves racially in Tiana, who is the only black princess at the time that the movie came out. So I would say most of the literature I've seen on negative impacts really is when they truly believe in those characters, but they either see themselves negatively through the character or they don't see themselves at all.
Yeah. I think the data that we have about kids learning that this is not real, let's say, is much less problematic than other aspects to it. Yeah, that's a really good question. Do you have a response to that, by the way?
Well, my response would be that Nicholas is a true person. He was a real person. He was born in 270 AD in a country called Mysia, which is now a part of modern-day Turkey. So Nicholas grew up in the church, became a pastor, a priest, became a bishop of the church, went to prison. He was put in prison by the Roman Empire for his belief in Christianity. And I read a thing about it when he was in prison, that it was said that there were enough priests, bishops in the prison that he was in, that they could have held a conclave and elected a pope. So that tells you something that, Nicholas is a real person. He was a real person.
Yeah, so I had a question. Sometimes, like when you're one-on-one, it's usually easier to deal with a kid asking you, like, how do you fly everywhere? And you show him your passport and things like that. But also for you, and when there's big performances with many children, I feel like I remember when I was a kid, every once in a while, there's like one kid that's not only not believing in it, but being very like heckling and like also telling all the other kids, like, that's not Santa Claus. I saw the other one in the mall that looked different the other day, or things like that. So how do you deal without making them like the enemy or like being angry at them, but also taking care of all the other kids and ensuring that they don't?
So for princess performers and historical interpreters, it actually seems easier the more kids there are to let them believe, because when it's one kid, especially if they really know that character well, they are going to grill you and they're waiting for you to like make a mistake because they want to believe in you, but like there's a hesitancy there, especially the older they get. When I was doing a lot of training for my employees, I was always like, we don't put the new people with 1 or 2 kid parties. We put them with the 14, 15, kid parties because there's just more action. We're sitting down and really talking with a kid for a long time. There's more chance you slip up and say something that's not in character because there's so much to know. The second part of that, I would say, is at princess parties. Regardless of whether it's a birthday party, a charity event, a fair, something like that, most companies have attendants, which are like street-clothed people who help the Princess One be safe from like people in the crowd, organize like the line to wait for them to get pictures. They will also kind of manage those kids, especially if there's kids that are being maybe too rough during the games of these types of events. They'll take them aside, and if a lot of times it will be an older boy who will, tell his little sister, the other little girls at the party, like, oh, well, Rapunzel's not real. And then we just have the attendant take them aside and say, hey, we know that you have really strong feelings about Rapunzel, but this is about, your little sister, or insert this little girl's birthday or this little boy's birthday. So if you could just keep that to yourself. And if they won't, we do tend to get the parents involved, just because it is very important to protect the magic for the rest of the kids while still letting that kid participate.
Keep the magic alive for everybody, man. Damn.
Well, I visit numerous elementary schools through the season, and I do end up with that all the time, and as they get older, they make those comments. That's why I carry everything that I carry with me. I carry my passport,
right.
I carry my driver's license, my flying license.
Does that confuse them?
No, it makes them think, wait a minute, that maybe is the real thing.
Yeah.
And when and when you know your facts, like St. Nicholas passed away on December 6th. Okay, that's his saint's day in the Catholic calendar. Okay, so that's when Santa Claus was to be born. Right? That's why when I say I'm 1,755 years old, that's when Nicholas passed away.
Oh,
so this year,
that's cool.
So December 6th is always a big day for me with that. And when I tell the kids that I make it into a problem. I make a math problem out of it. I tell them, what's this year? What's the year of this year? And they say, okay, 2025. Okay, so I was born in 270 AD. Do the math, because it's a learning experience for them. Some of them get it right off the bat, some of them don't. But it's everything that you can present to them.
Yeah.
That's going to, I hate to say this because it makes us turn out to be liars, but to reinforce that hope, that dream, that magic that we're talking about is what it's about.
Okay, so that is probably the answer to that question right up there.
Yeah, it does not pay a lot, and it was a lot of work to run the company and to manage the employees.
Just to get in costume is a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, the Belle dress that you guys saw earlier is $2,500. So I'm glad that you got to stand next to it.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm in Anna's dress at the shrine, that is almost $3,000 worth of costumes and wigs. So it's a very expensive thing, at least for the princesses. And I don't know, like you guys, my hair is dyed like Anna. Okay, I'm researching princess performers and historical interpreters. I'd like someday to work with how the children perceive the princesses. This has become everything that I am because of these kids that really believed in me when I needed to be believed in.
Well, okay, so that's the flip side, right? That's what we get. You give and you receive.
Yeah.
And when you say that, I can say this for me. Sometimes the other day I was in New Jersey and I ran into somebody who watches Social 119. And the moment I'm in public and I run into someone who watches Social 119, doesn't matter what I'm doing, I stop. And I'm like, yo, I was going into a store and I just stopped. I'm like, hey, tell me about it. I was in a hurry, but it didn't matter. Time stopped. I'm like, whatever. You watched the class? Okay, I'm going to give you any amount of time that you want because that's just part of you give, you receive, right? So.
And I mean, it's everything that you are sometimes. I don't know about you, but how long have you been doing it? 1991? This class every semester or something crazy?
Yeah, but I've been teaching for 42 years.
Longer than I've been alive. This is if not the most important thing, it's a huge part. The princesses aren't the only thing to me, but they're a huge part. The people who portray George Washington for 27 years at Living History Museums, that man is their friend. they become a huge part of who you are. Even if you're not feeling like you're losing the boundary between them, it's
And it feels cool to give back. Is the sense of magic in childhood, does it depend on certain traditions or just does it is it there? It's there. Can I answer this question? Every child has the potential, every human being to believes in magic. Everybody does. That's part of the stage. It's make-believe. It's stuffed animals. It's whatever the case is. Everybody. It doesn't depend on anything. It just depends on somebody being there to bring the magic alive.
Yeah, some people might think they're weird. I'm one of them included. But you see the Disney adults who go to Disney and they start crying when they see a character. Obviously, I'm very connected to the characters. But you feel something when you meet them, even as an adult. And I did not have Princess character Santa, any of that growing up. Yeah. And at some point I just was like, hey, I think I want to do this. And now they've become such a big part of who I am. Yeah. So there's a 10-minute video of me interacting with an Anna performer at Disney who I knew the performer who was friends with her, but I still couldn't get it out of my head that wasn't Anna. I'm talking to her and I know this person, but and I'm matching her mannerisms because I'm so excited and I always play on. It really, anyone can believe if they want to, and that's why Disney is so popular. For everything that Disney does wrong and is problematic, there is a reason it is so popular, and people want to believe in magic, so they can just have a moment away from everything else.
Yeah, it's like the stuffed animal really is talking to you.
Yeah.
To magic, it's in our DNA, because it goes back to when we were Neanderthals believed in magic, So it's something that's always been in cultures. Even today, you've got cultures that still have magic in their culture. Tribes in Africa. First Nations here in the United States and Canada.
I agree with you. I think that magic can be very broadly thought of as something just believing in something you can't see or truly...
You can't explain.
Yeah. I like to also, again, I'm getting a PhD in the social sciences. Science is also magic in some ways.
Yeah.
Imagine going back 100 years and telling any human, you can pick whatever scientist you want, Emil Durkheim, that I could pull out my phone and call my mom right now. She's watching the stream. Hello. Or that we could Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Or that we could do all of these things that we can't see. And science has data and empirical evidence, but it is still, there's some magic to it. We're talking about that this is made up of atoms. Yeah. You can't see those with your eyes.
Everything is magic, man.
We're getting a little existential, but...
That's a great example with the phones. How has Santa affected you? How has improved? Oh, there you go.
They've taught me other things that, as a child, that I did, I don't know if they taught me or if I'm remembering the things I used to do as a child. It's I guess that's the best way, is that I did a lot of things they did, and I'm seeing what I did as a child through them. Is probably the best way to describe that. So, how's it?
Do you cuss? Do you use swear words?
Do I cuss? Not when I'm in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
really have to watch yourself.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's a mindset. It's a switch. You got to turn it on and off. And I'm human. I get angry. I mean,
yeah.
So.
No, I get that. I have a similar thing, right? For me, my wife is always reminding me that because wherever we go, I run into people who recognize me, especially in this town, and I just have to change my behavior constantly. And I am not, at every moment, I'm walking around as though people know who I am, even though they don't. I have to, so I can't say certain things. I can't swear. There are a lot of things that I would just normally be. I have to, comb my hair before I leave the house, which I'm not inclined to do. But
the morning of the meeting those little gymnasts at the shrine, that's so funny. I I didn't expect children to be there, but we were outside, so you have to like be ready. So we weren't in character until we realized there were children coming, and then you had to like snap it on really quick. It happens, you know. You just have to know when you're on stage that they're like, even if you're not fully on stage, that you need to be ready to be on stage at any moment. I'm sure same with him.
So like you, I saw you walking down the hall here. You were just you, but the moment you saw me, like I was looking at you, I felt like there was a kind of a switch in you. You just were like, oh, whew, you know. What's the best Christmas movie?
Olaf's Frozen Adventure.
Yeah. All right.
Don't play. I love it.
I'm going to say the 1939 version of A Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
Because and if you've never seen it, please see it. Google it and watch it. It gives that hope. Yeah, hope that somebody can change their ways. And, you know, you can change how you are. You have the opportunity. You have the power within you to do that. Okay?
You know what? What's interesting for me is that kind of so much of what the two of you are saying are things that I am always hoping that really kind of comes out of this class, which is that people feel empowered to see themselves differently and see the world differently. The people feel a little bit of magic. The people feel more acceptance of themselves and other people. And the people have the idea that the world is a pretty cool place and it could be a better place, and that we can all participate in that. If there's one thing that you could say to, you kind of, in a certain sense, you already said this, but I just want to, given what you've observed in parents, if there's a message you would have for parents, what would it be?
Love your children every day. Keep and protect them every day. They will make mistakes, and you correct them when they make their mistakes.
Yeah.
All right? When they get...
Yeah.
You're the parent, not them. You're to be teaching them how they're to be in this world. They reflect you. You don't reflect them.
So this is like the Santa role.
Yeah.
This is you as Santa.
And something else, you know, we say, we have this thing about our exteriors, our skin colors, our hair. What color are you underneath your skin? You're red. You're blood red. What does it matter what color you are? What does it matter what hair you have? I don't care. I don't see you people like that. I see you all as just people. You know, when we start getting into that aspect of things, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're just wrong. Remember that, you know.
That's cool.
A stranger is only a friend you just met. Okay? So make a friend out of them, not an enemy. Listen to people. Listen to one another. Discuss things. Don't scream and yell at one another. Discuss them civilly. So if you take anything away from me, take that, please. Don't yell and scream at one another. Your point's not more important than the other person's. If you can yell louder than them,
yeah, that's cool.
Listen to the other person. They'll listen to you if they're smart. Hopefully they are.
In the words of Cinderella, teach your children to have courage and to be kind. There's a lot of ways that you can do that, and there's a lot of experiences in this world that will shape the way you do that for your children, but gentleness and understanding and politeness, but standing up for yourself at the same time is a very important frame of mind to have, and we need to teach our kiddos to do that.
Dude, thanks, man.
I do have to tell you all to have a magical rest of your day. It's legally required, probably.